Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back to today with a special live Q&A session. I had a few viewers leave comments, wanted me to do something like this. So here I am. I'm only going to stay on for 15, 20 minutes at most. We'll see if I get any questions. And if so, great. If not, no big deal. I will just delete this video, but I am here to answer any questions out there that you viewers might have about beer, wine, liquor, what I like to drink, what got me into drinking in the first place, that type of stuff, or any other questions you might have. Gabriel Salaya is tuning in. Hello, Gabriel. How are you? And I am finishing up the Anderson Valley barrel-aged G&T Gose. I posted a review on my channel earlier. Very pleased with this beer. This beer gets a 94 out of 100 from me. I've been very pleased with all of the Anderson Valley beers that I've had over the years. So, a good brewery out of Boonville, California. All right, well, Gabrielle, it appears that you are the only one watching at the moment. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. That's what this video is all about. Everybody out there that watches my channel, be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Like I said, I'm doing this per viewer request. I had a couple of comments, people asking me to do a video like this. So if anybody out there is watching, has any questions, now would be the time to ask. Of course, you can always leave comments on any of my videos, and I will respond to them as quickly as possible. I always appreciate people watching, leaving comments. That is why I do this, after all, to continue or to discuss beer and other alcoholic products with you, the YouTube community. So I appreciate everybody watching and supporting my channel since, I guess, April, since I started my YouTube channel. A lot of great beer reviewers out there. You got Ronald Terrio, Louisiana Beer Reviews. You've got Thomas Metal 75, Eric Fraunfelter, Massachusetts Beer Reviews. You got Craft Beer Pours. You've got Jerry Fort, the beer review guy. You got a lot of great beer tubers out there in YouTube land. Michael Kormaroff is watching. Thanks for tuning in, Michael. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick question and answer video. I've had several viewers request that I do something like this, so that's what I'm doing. We've got Christian Ochoa. He says, review Mississippi Mud if you ever find it. I can get Mississippi Mud. I've had it many times before I actually started my channel. They, come in the big, I don't know if they're 22 or 32 ounce jugs. Really cool container and a very great beer. I've always enjoyed Mississippi Mud. I think it's one of the better black and tans on the market. I will definitely pick up a bottle very soon and do a review for you, Christian. Thanks for the comment. So anybody that's just tuning in, I am finishing off this Anderson Valley barrel-aged G&T Gose. It has been aged in bourbon barrels that once housed the Anderson Valley's Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout. This is a 6.5% ABV beer, and it is very good. I give it a 94 out of 100 on my channel for the review. 32 ounces they are. Never had it. I think Gabrielle's talking about the Mississippi Mud. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, Gabrielle, if you like the Yuengling Black and Tan. If you like that style in general. It's a cross between a porter and a pilsner. If you like that type of thing, you would probably love the Mississippi Mud. It's really one of the better ones out there that I've tried. And if you like sour ales, or gozas, you need to check out Anderson Valley. They have a great lineup, a great goza lineup. They have the briny melon goza, which I've had. I thought it was excellent. They have a blood orange goza, which is also excellent. They have the G&T goza, which is their standard variant. This one is obviously the bourbon barrel aged version of that beer, and it is even better than the standard G&T goza. All of their beers that I've had, most of them gozas, they've all been very enjoyable. Been very pleased with the Anderson Valley beers. So let's see. Michael Kormaroff is asking, are you surprised how many craft beers keep increasing their market share? Yeah, I mean, craft beer seems to be it's definitely the future. You've got a lot of, you've got your macro breweries, and they're trying to kind of conform and create a lot of more crafty beers. Budweiser is a perfect example with their, the Jim Beam collaboration, the Freedom Reserve, the pre-prohibition style lager. These big companies keep putting out these crafty beers, trying to get people to buy more because the craft breweries are just doing so well. And my goodness, I live here in Georgia, close to Atlanta. We've got at least 100 different craft breweries in the state of Georgia, maybe more. I've had tried 7 or 8 different beers or different breweries in my area within 100 miles of where I live. I could think of 5 or 10 just off the top of my head. You've got Red Hare, you've got Terrapin, you've got Sweetwater, you've got Abide. There's just so many. It's really just insane. I had one last night. It was a red velvet cake porter, Burnt Hickory Brewery out of Kennesaw, Georgia. There's so many. It's just unbelievable. It's mind-boggling, really, how many craft breweries are popping up, how many of them are doing very well. A lot of them, Michael, they do end up expanding, but some of them are happy just doing what they're doing, just within their market. We were talking about Six Point, and they don't, their distribution is not in Georgia, but they make enough money, and their market is spreading. They sell their beers in Florida and several other states, but they don't need to worry too much about their distribution and trying to expand. And I don't think their game plan is to become a nationwide distributor. It's not worth it. It's not always in their best interest, in the company's best interest, to do that. And I like these craft breweries that just kind of stay local and that they're not too worried about expansion. And they do very well in that market, and they make plenty of money. And sometimes that's all you really need to do. Gabriel is saying that he doesn't get Yuengling beers. Yeah, Yuengling, I believe, is sold in 29 states currently. They continue to grow, and that's one of the companies that might eventually become nationwide with their distribution, but they might not. But they're a much bigger company than some of these smaller craft breweries that I'm talking about, specifically here in Georgia. Alabama as well has a lot of really good craft breweries. I've been drinking some Fairhope beers, Fairhope Brewing Company out of Fairhope, Alabama. They make some great stuff. Rod J. Beer Ventures is tuning in. Thanks, Rod J. Cheers to you as well. Just doing this quick, live Q&A. Had a couple of viewers wanted me to do this type of thing, so here I am, just here to answer any questions you guys might have while finishing off a great beer. And let's see. I cannot pronounce this username. I am sorry. Yuvuvev. I don't know. I don't know what that is. German, Russian. I have no idea. He says hello. He or she says hello. Hello back to you as well. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is the reason I'm doing this, is for you guys. So please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. But yeah, I've really been getting into a lot of great beers lately. I really live in a great area for craft beer, so close to Atlanta. And Atlanta has, it's like another state entirely. They have so many craft breweries within 50 miles of Atlanta, but then you have just the state of Georgia. There are craft breweries in Savannah, Kennesaw. We have one right here in Coweta County in Noonan, Georgia. We have Abide Brewery. It is literally 5 miles down the road, and they put out some great craft beer. A lot of local bars and restaurants have their beers on draft, and they're all excellent. So I would definitely recommend supporting your local craft breweries. Let's see. Rajay says, John, just had the Sweetwater Dank Tank Sticky Nugs from your area. Actually impressed me a little on that one. Yeah, Sweetwater makes some great brews. I haven't had that one yet, Rajay, but I have heard about it. And I do plan on checking that one out pretty soon. Of course, you've got the 420 is their namesake. That's kind of the beer that started it all for them. That's an excellent pale ale. It's pretty much an IPA, I think, actually. It's really hoppy, very enjoyable. And they make a lot of great beers. They have a really good Berliner Weiss. They've got a couple of dark beers. They've got some stuff too that you can only get at the brewery in Atlanta. So I would like to visit the brewery someday to try some of their, special beers that you can only get on draft at the actual brewery. Hop Hash, yes, I've had Hop Hash, Rajay. That's an excellent beer as well. They have two versions of that. They have a session version, and then they have another one that's like 7 or 8% alcohol. So they actually have several different variants of that. I think the one that I tried was their session version, which was pretty good, but session IPAs are not really my thing. You get too much, too many hop or too much hop character and not enough body to really back it up. So it ends up just tasting more like, hop water to me. So not my favorite style, the session IPAs, but I love a good IPA, full-bodied IPA, Imperial IPA. And I'm getting into the New England style IPAs a lot more lately because I really like the citrus notes, and I really like the hazy, that hazy IPA style. Let's see. So Rajay, yeah, you had the bigger one. That one, I've heard really good things about that one. I don't think I've had that one yet. I'll have to check it out soon. And of course, on draft, yeah, I'm sure that's an excellent beer on draft, Rajay. All of the Sweetwater beers that I've had on draft have just been really outstanding. So Gabrielle, the new beer, Goose Island Parka Porter, Mexican Porter style beer. Yes. Okay. So the Goose Island Parka Porter, I actually can get that one. It just kind of started making its way to my area. Goose Island, though, we don't get too much of their stuff. Georgia is one of those states that does not allow any beer over 14%. So when the Bourbon County Stout was released, it was not released here. And they made a statement basically saying that Georgia, because our alcohol laws are so crappy, I guess you could say, or so limiting, that they're not going to release too many of their beers, their special release, their limited edition beers in the state of Georgia because it's really just more of a hassle than anything, which I think is unfortunate because, craft beer drinkers like myself, we love to try all of these different styles, and Goose Island, their Bourbon County Stout, is pretty much world class. So I would love to try some of their other seasonal distributed in the state of Georgia, unfortunately, because of our alcohol laws. So that is unfortunate, and I feel like the consumer is being punished for the state's dumb laws, which I think is really sad that we have to suffer because the state of Georgia has these strange alcohol laws. 4.5% for that porter. Okay, that's interesting, Gabriel. I didn't know that. That's pretty light for a porter. But it's not all about alcohol. You could still have a pretty heavily bodied beer at 4.5%. A perfect example would be the Victoria lager. It's a Mexican lager. It's only 4% alcohol by volume, but that is a full-bodied, nice, darkly roasted Mexican lager. It's got a ton of flavor, and you would never think that it was only 4%. It's got so much body, so much character to be such a low ABV. So they do make a lot of beers like that. Maybe not a lot, but there are some beers on the market that have very low alcohol but just have a ton of character, a lot of body, and are just excellent beers. All right, Hope79 is tuning in and says, hello all. Well, hello to you, 79. I'm glad you tuned in. Feel free to put a question in the comments if you have any questions relating to beer, alcohol, whatever. That's why I'm doing this. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Take another sip of this Anderson Valley barrel-aged G&T Gose. If anybody out there likes Goses, sour ales, you definitely need to check Anderson Valley. They have an entire lineup, an entire Gose lineup. They've got some barrel-aged stuff like the one I'm drinking now. They've really got some interesting beers. Every one that I've had, like I said, is just really outstanding. Out of Boonville, California, but they do have nationwide distribution. I'm all the way out here in Georgia, and I get the Anderson Valley beers, and I get, you know, a pretty wide variety of their products, which is very nice. Oh, well, thank you, Hope79. I appreciate that. So Rajay Beer Ventures, he has a great channel as well, does beer reviews and hangouts. Anybody out there that's watching, if you haven't already checked his channel out, go do that. Great stuff out there. He actually went to see the Clydesdales not too long ago, did a video, which is pretty cool. When I lived in Columbus, Georgia, the Budweiser, you know, the carriage with the Clydesdales, they came to my area and made some deliveries around the area to different restaurants. It was really cool. Got to follow them around. Clydesdales are very beautiful, very big horses, just magnificent creatures. If you've never seen a Clydesdale up close and personal, it's something to definitely do. Very, very cool experience. And I got to drink some Budweiser, so I mean, you know, win-win. Yeah, Rajay, Anderson Valley does do great stuff. I would like to try some of their other beers, like their standard stuff, you know, but I'm such a big fan of their Goses, the sour ales. I've had pretty much their entire lineup of Goses, but they do also make some great other beers that I need to try as well. So I'm excited to get further into their lineup and see what other, you know, good beers they have to offer. Solstice beers. You know what? I think I did have one of their Solstice beers. It may have actually just been called Summer. It was. As a matter of fact, it was the Anderson Valley Summer Solstice. That was an excellent beer. It had a lot of nice caramel sweetness and roasted barley malt action. It was really, really good. I've also had their Chai Solstice, which is like it's spiced, you know, kind of like a chai latte or iced tea. It had all of those spices in there, made for a very interesting beer. Although I wouldn't really drink that one too much because it didn't taste like a beer. It tasted like a spiced holiday type drink. But yeah, their Solstice beers are good. I've had the Summer Solstice and the Chai Spice, or the Chai Solstice, it might be called. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'll stay on here for a few more minutes to see if anybody else has any questions. Like I said, this is a viewer request video. You guys wanted me to do this, so that's why I'm doing it. And Rajay says, yes, I've had some beers where chai is being used, an interesting spice to use. It's very interesting. It's definitely unique. You know it when you're drinking it. It's so much different than anything else. I mean, the spice, or the chai spice, it's very, very unique, very interesting. It is very good, but it's one of those that you either like it or you probably hate it because it's just so different from your standard beer, and those spices that they're using in the beer really make it. It's its own beast altogether. It's a separate animal. The Sam Adams, I don't think I've ever seen their chai beer. We do get, you know, a lot of the variety pack. It might have been in one of those variety packs, but I've never seen it in a 6-pack or single. But that would definitely be one that I would be interested in trying. Unfortunately, with Samuel Adams, I find that their variety packs, a lot of them, they might have one beer in the variety pack that's really good, and then they have a lot of stuff in there that's so-so, below average, you know, just kind of bland. They have a lot of dull seasonal beers. And of course, the Sam 76, I was very disappointed with the Sam 76. It had a lot of potential, but it really just failed. It did not live up to the hype at all. one step closer to ordering a beer at Starbucks. Yeah, that's right. Um, one of your beer fests. Yeah. I can't remember where you live, Rajay, but yeah, we have a lot of cool events here. You know, living so close to Atlanta, the area that I live in, there's a lot of really cool like beer fest and brewery tours and tastings and stuff that are available to me. And I really just haven't had time or haven't really gotten into that side of things yet. But I'd be very interested to actually visit some of the breweries around here, do a tasting, do a tour, you know, go to the tap room, drink some of their beers. I think that would be a really cool experience. I definitely need to do more of that. Cincinnati, okay, yeah, Ohio is actually a really great state for craft beer. Then again, most states now, it seems like they have a lot of really great craft breweries. The craft beer movement, the craft beer world just keeps expanding, and it's really nice to see all these new craft breweries pop up. I mean, it's win-win for the consumer, you know. Um, and it seems too like a lot of these big, you know, like Anheuser-Busch, Miller Coors, it seems like these smaller craft breweries, not as many of them are as willing to sell out to these big companies anymore. They realize the potential of what they have, and they don't necessarily have to be a nationwide company. They don't have to have nationwide distribution to make a good amount of money and get their name out there. So I think more and more people are holding off on selling out to these big companies, which is nice because I mean it forces the macro companies to try to do a better job with some of their beers and come up with these nice craft style beers to compete with the smaller craft breweries in the area. Because the craft breweries, if you live close to a craft brewery, which most people do now in the United States, live relatively close to at least one craft brewery. Most people, or a lot of people, I should say, are more willing to support their local breweries than to buy from these big companies. I like everything. I'm going to continue to buy craft beer, macro beer. It doesn't really matter for me, but I definitely understand the reason why people are trying to support their local economy and buy more local beers. I think that's a great thing for the beer world, for the beer community. Yeah, you should definitely check out Atlanta again soon, Rajay, and hit me up when you're here. I'll show you around. We got some great craft breweries and a lot of cool places to check out. Yeah, 60 craft breweries around you. Yeah, I mean it's really just a crazy number. And it seems like a new craft brewery is opening every day. Uh, it's really impressive. It's really exciting as a craft beer drinker, as a just a beer drinker in general. It's really exciting to see all of these breweries popping up, and with the with modern technology and all the equipment that's available to these small breweries, it's a lot easier now than it was 15, 20 years ago with the quality control and putting out a consistently good product. That was not always the case, but there's definitely been some great strides in the craft beer community and in the equipment that is being used, which is great for the consistency of the product, for the packaging, and just for the actual production. It's more efficient. These small breweries can produce a large amount of beer very efficiently, and it hasn't always been that way. So let's see. Gabrielle says there's a beer I'd never had. I've seen a pic of it called Before and After Triple Bot. Oh, the Before and After. That's the Lithuanian beer. Michael Kormaroff gets a lot of their beers up in New York. I think I could find some of their stuff in Atlanta, but it's kind of hit or miss with them. I don't know what's going on in Lithuania, but you could get one beer and it could be excellent. You can get another beer, same label, same bottle, right next to it on the shelf, and it could be completely terrible. I actually had the Crazy Brewski from them, and it was a drain pour for me. But Michael Kormaroff said it was an excellent beer when he tried it. So whatever they're doing out there in Lithuania, I don't know, but that particular brewery in particular, it's hit or miss. You can get a beer, it could be excellent. You can also buy the same beer a week later, and it ends up being a drain pour. So, but yes, I would definitely like to try the Before and After. I haven't had that one, but it's definitely something I would be willing to check out For a 12% beer, I think it's like $3.99 for a 22-ounce bomber. So I would definitely be interested in checking it out. And the 12% is still within my state limit. Anything under 14% and under I can get. So if I ever see that, Gabriel, I will definitely pick it up and do a review of it. And I would love to be able to find that one. All right. Great chat, guys. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. That's why I'm doing this for you guys, to answer your questions. And that's what we're doing here. Hope79, I haven't seen you before in the chat, Hope79. I really appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, definitely. That's a good sub right there for Rajay's Beer Ventures. If you're into beer, it's a good channel to watch. He does great videos. He does live hangouts. He does on-site stuff. Really, really great content on his channel. Let's see. Yeah, there are a lot of beer tubers out there now. I remember when I first started watching YouTube videos, I was 18, 19. I remember there was a guy, Keith's Beer Reviews. I think he actually passed away, unfortunately, but he used to make great videos. And then, of course, I think everybody out there knows Ronald Terrio of Louisiana Beer Reviews. He's been around forever. He does great reviews as well. Rajay asked, am I doing a New Year's stream? Yes, actually, I think 7 o'clock, I'm going to do a champagne examination on my channel, which anybody out there that wants to join is more than welcome to. I'm not a really big champagne drinker, but I do enjoy it occasionally, and New Year's Eve is the perfect opportunity to do a live champagne hangout on my channel. So if anybody out there is interested in that, feel free to stop by. And if you're interested in joining, leave a comment. Anybody is more than welcome to join during these live examinations. The cold snap from Samuel Adams. I've actually had that, Gabriel. It's been a couple years though since I had it. It's one of those seasonal beers from Samuel Adams that I just really don't like. It's not bad, but it's dull. It's lacking in character. It really could have been a lot better, but it's almost like Samuel Adams took a great beer and watered it down. It's just, which I find with a lot of their seasonal stuff. The Cold Snap in particular. I think another one is the Porch Rocker, which is in their summer variety pack. That one's so-so. None of them are bad, but there are a lot of them that really could have been a lot better if Samuel Adams put a little bit more time into some of their seasonal beers. And of course, the Sam 76, that's not a seasonal beer, but it seems like they're putting it in all of the variety packs now, maybe just so they can get rid of it. That one is just dull. I actually gave it a 76 out of 100. It's just an average beer, like hop water. It's only 12 IBUs too, but it's got a definite like citrus hop note, but it's just too light bodied, doesn't have enough character, and it just needs more flavor. Especially for the price. I think if you were to buy like a 12-pack of it, you'd be better off buying Old Milwaukee, PBR, Budweiser than going with something like that, because it just doesn't have enough flavor for me anyway. Special K is a good channel. I enjoy Special K. Yeah, they do put out some great beer reviews. Craft Beer Pours. Brandon says he's got a question. He says, I have a question, but he never asked a question. Brandon, you got a question or you don't have a question? Make up your mind. All right. Gabriel Salai says, Sam Adams Black Lager is a good one. Yes, the Samuel Adams Black Lager is very good. That's one of the better seasonal beers that Sam Adams puts out. Let's see. Craft Beer Report. Will you be joining us tonight? Yes. I will try to join you for a little bit. Maybe not too long. I know the national or the college playoff is coming on later. So I'll be watching some of that, but Auburn's not in it, so I don't really care too much. So yes, anybody out there, Craft Beer Pours, great beer channel. I mentioned him earlier. He puts out great reviews, does live hangouts all the time. Great beer channel, a great panel. He always has coming on his channel as well. Also, check out One Sip at a Time. That's Trish. That's his wife, actually. She puts out great videos as well. She's pregnant now, so she won't be doing a lot of the wine stuff that she was doing when she started her channel, but she still puts out great videos, so go check her out as well. But yes, Brandon, I will try to join you guys for a little while tonight. I've got some good beer that I can drink. Rajay says he hopes Clemson beats Notre Dame. About to kick off soon. Yes, I'm going to go watch some of that game here very shortly. That should be a good game, although I don't know. Notre Dame is one of those teams. They look really good, and then they don't look really good. So I don't know. I hope it's a close game. I hope it's not like the Alabama-Notre Dame championship game a few years back when Alabama just destroyed them. Toxic Swiller is 40 is tuning in and says Sam Adams' White Christmas was fantastic, and he loves winter beers. I do really enjoy winter beers. Toxic. I have not seen the White Christmas though. I bought a Christmas variety pack. It had a chocolate Bock, holiday porter, the Sam 76, and the Old Fezziwig, but no White Christmas, which to me makes absolutely no sense. Why would they not put the White Christmas ale in the Christmas variety pack? But they didn't, at least not in my area. So I haven't seen it, haven't tried it yet, but I would still definitely be interested in checking that one out. Yes, Gabrielle, Craft Beer Reports does have a great channel. So does Rajay. Toxic Swiller also has a channel. I've just kind of started getting into some of his stuff, but anybody out there, I think he does beer stuff, but he does a lot of hangouts as well. A lot of live streams, I guess. So go check him out. Let's see. All right. Yeah, great chat, guys. Thanks, everybody, again, for tuning in. Goodness, I said I was only going to do 15 minutes live, but this, like I said, this is for you guys, and y'all keep putting comments in the chat. So I will stay on. Let's see, it's almost 4 o'clock. I'll stay on 40 minutes, so about another 8 minutes before I go before I get off here and go watch the college football playoff game. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Had some great questions today. I appreciate that. Almost finished with this beer. Very, very enjoyable. Cheers, Trish. Thanks for tuning in. The Whiskey Scout is here. Awesome channel. If anybody out there drinks whiskey, you need to check out the Whiskey Scout. He has a great channel, does great whiskey reviews. Thanks for tuning in, Robert. I appreciate it. I'm just doing a live Q&A session here. Anybody out there that has questions has been asking them, and I've been answering them. I had a few viewers request that I do this, so that's why I'm doing it. So thanks for tuning in. Rajay, let's see. No, I do not have a beer cellar, and I'm really not very patient when it comes to that kind of stuff. I buy a beer. I know it's going to be good. I want to drink it. I am not good at that type of thing. I do, I guess I could cellar some beer. I do have a Founder CBS that I've been sitting on for a little over a month now. I'm going to attempt to cellar that one, but I've had it before, and I know how excellent it is, so we'll see. I'm doing my best to try to keep that one for a while, at least a year, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not. And I live in an apartment, so I don't have like a space that I can just put beer in that is out of sight, out of mind. So it's very difficult for me to do that type of thing right now. But I would definitely love to be able to cellar beer and get into that a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm very impatient, and with the space that I have now, it's very difficult for me to put stuff out of sight, out of mind. So maybe someday, but maybe the CBS. I'm trying to hold on to one of the Founders CBSs for a year, and then drink it and see if I can tell a difference. But the CBS was excellent. That's one of the few beers that I gave a perfect score. Just a world-class beer. Huh. Trish, I don't know what you're talking about. Have I ever done a beer chug? I don't know. Maybe once or twice. But not something I would do. I would do too much of. I don't know. Maybe tonight on the Craft Beer Pours live stream, I might do a beer chug. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, yeah, right, Rajay. If I buy enough and just can't drink it all, then yeah, I guess I could start selling stuff. But I have to get quite the backstock going to be able to do something like that. I think. Um, let's see. Gabriel says White Christmas is a wheat beer, Old Fezziwig is an ale, Winter is a lager made with orange peel, cinnamon, nutmeg. All right. Well, thank you for the info, Gabriel. I've had the Winter Warmer or the Winter Lager is very good. That's one of the Sam Adams seasonal beers that I like, although it's not as good as it could be. The cinnamon, nutmeg, orange peel. I mean, I didn't really pick up on too much of that. It was just like a standard winter warmer. It didn't really have too much in the spice department, which is fine for me. I'm not a huge, it doesn't have to be a heavily spiced beer, but because they put it there on the label, I was expecting to get a little bit more of those flavors, and it just fell a little bit short for me. I think I gave that one an 88 out of 100, which is a B plus. So it was a great beer, but it didn't quite make it into the A range because it didn't have some of those flavors that they were claiming that it would have. I just really wasn't picking up on. It was a good beer though, nonetheless. So craft, let's see. Oh, Trish, One Sip at a Time asks, how did you get into craft beer? That's a great question. I was young, broke, living with my parents, in between jobs, trying to get back into school, and drinking a bunch of macros. And I think it was the Boston Lager, and it was so much different than the Budweiser and the malt liquor, Colt 45, Old English. A lot of the cheap malt liquors that I was drinking was really enjoyable. The first beer that I had that really had a nice defined hop character to it. So I just started getting into some more stuff, slowly at first, and then once I got a decent job and made a little bit more money, I could afford better beer. So it pretty much just skyrocketed from there. But I do like all styles, and I do like macros, including malt liquor. I mean, I really don't discriminate against anything. I think if you're honest with yourself and you're honest with the style, I mean, you have to understand that, what the style is that you're drinking, and you may not like the style. Not everybody's going to like every style, but to be fair, you have to rate within that style. So you may hate malt liquor, but if you drink a malt liquor and it meets all the criteria to be a good malt liquor, you have to rate it as a good malt liquor. And a lot of people have trouble doing that because they let their personal bias get in the way of rating within the style if they don't like the style. And my advice to anybody out there that's interested in reviewing beer, if you don't like a certain style and you don't think you could be honest with the review, then just don't drink that style. Because when you review a beer, if I were to drink a double IPA, and I hate double IPAs, and it's an excellent double IPA, then what kind of person would I be if I gave it an F? You got to rate within the style. So anyway, let's see. Like your story on First Craft and how your passion started. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Just kind of get into it, and we were talking earlier about all these craft breweries that keep popping up. There's so many. It's a very exciting world for beer lovers out there because there's just so much variety, so many different styles, so many different hybrids now. New styles are being created all the time. So just a great day to be alive and living in this craft beer world that we live in. It's just exciting, and there are so many new advances and new with different styles and brewing techniques that beer is only going to get better from here on out. So Whiskey Scout has a question. He bought a Guinness 1759 for $30. Oh, wow. The Guinness 1759 LE. I don't think I've had that, Robert. I would definitely love to try it. Oh, the best Guinness I've ever had would have to be the foreign extra stout, which is, I believe, 7.5%. And that one is excellent. But no, I've never had that one. man, you'll have to do a review of that, or at least you'll have to let me know what you think of that. That sounds very interesting. They do have a new Guinness beer that is aged in Bullet bourbon barrels, and that one should be nationwide. It has not made it to my area yet, but I've seen a couple of reviews on it, and it seems to be getting pretty good ratings. So I'm definitely interested in trying that one. Robert, you would probably like that one as well. And that's a lot cheaper than $30 a bottle, but the Guinness that's aged in the Bullet bourbon barrels. All right, let's see. Blue Moon Abiel is a good one. I tried it. Yeah, that's a good beer, Gabriel. Thomas Metal 75. Yo, what's going on, man? What's going on, man? Thanks for tuning in. Just talking about beer, answering a few questions. And I said I was going to get off at 40 minutes. My goodness, we keep getting the questions. They keep rolling in here. What do I think the next big trend in craft beer is for 2019? Oh, that's a good question, Eric. Man, that's a tough one. I think the IPAs are going to continue to just blossom, and there's going to be different variations. Like the New England style IPAs, there's going to be different variations of that. I think the black IPAs are really coming into their own. I'm seeing more of those. I actually had a black and tan the other day that, typically you have Pilsner and Porter. Well, it was half Porter and half IPA. So it was a different take on a black and tan. I thought that was very interesting. I think sours as well are going to continue to grow. This one that I'm drinking now is a barrel aged sour. So I think you're going to see a lot more barrel aged beers, not just sours, but just barrel aged beers in general. I think that's kind of the trendy thing now. And the beers that they're putting out, these barrel aged beers, are excellent. I mean, Founders makes a Barrel Runner, a barrel aged red IPA. That sounds incredible. You've got the barrel aged sours, the barrel aged gozas. You've got the barrel aged, of course, the bourbon barrel aged stouts. All these imperial beers are taking off, these high alcohol beers. So it's a very exciting world in the craft beer community, because the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for this type of stuff. Let's see. Rajay says, not as huge on ratings, even though I could rate along the lines of a beer judge. At this point, I just rate for my personal enjoyment, but agree there's also a style rating component. Yeah, and you don't have to be. I mean, it's not a perfect system. Anybody out there that watches my reviews, you'll probably notice that typically, your adjunct lagers, stouts, sours, those typically get higher ratings. I do give some great ratings to IPAs as well, and some other styles that I don't like as much. But it's very hard to be perfect with that. But yeah, I think as long as you just try, you're cognizant enough to understand that it's important to rate within the style. And you do the best that you can with it. That's all that anybody can ask for. As long as people, as long as you're not slamming a beer just because you don't like the style. Like I said, say I'm drinking an IPA. I don't really care for IPAs, but it's a great IPA, and I were to give it an F, that would just really damage my credibility. Yeah, I might not like it personally. I might not buy it again, but if it's a great beer, I've got to at least, mention that, regardless of whether or not I would drink it again. Gabriel says, I want to try Old Style in Old Milwaukee. I've never had Old Style. It's not available here. That's more of a Midwest thing. We do not get it out here in Alabama or Georgia. I don't know about the Northeast along the coast, but we definitely don't get it here, Gabriel. Old Milwaukee is very good. Yeah, Rajay, I haven't heard of that Guinness, but that sounds awesome. A $30 bottle of Guinness, it's got to be good, right? I mean, it's got to be outstanding. Whiskey Scout says, thanks. Next live we do it, I will show you. Yes, if you can hold on to it for that long, Robert. If you can, if that was me, that it wouldn't make it that long. But yeah, the next time we do an examination, yeah, you'll have to show me at least the bottle. If you drink the beer, at least save the bottle and show it to me, because I'd be very interested to see if I could get that one and check it out. Thomas Metal 75. Maybe the Brut IPA will continue to be a trend in 2019. Yes, the Brut IPA style seems to be growing. Very, very popular. An up-and-coming style. I've had a couple of them. They're okay. A little too dry for me, which that's what they're going for because of the champagne yeast and everything. They want it to be dry like champagne, like super dry. But I find that the combination, the super hoppy qualities that you get with the IPA and that extra dry finish, for me, it's just not really a refreshing style. I think it's interesting. And it probably will continue to grow, and a lot of people seem to be into them, but it's just not something that I will really seek out. I do want to try the New Belgium Brut IPA. That's one I can get here. It's very popular. I've heard good things about it, and I've heard a lot of bad things about it as well. Some people love it, others hate it. So that seems to be one that's either hit or miss with most people. Either your palate is either going to like it or you're going to hate it. It seems to be one of those that there's no middle ground with. Rajay asked, did you get the new Voodoo Black yet from the new Voodoo Black? No, I don't think I've had that one yet, but I have seen it, Rajay, so I'll have to check that one out soon. It's definitely on my watch list. A lot of the New Belgium beers are on my watch list. There's so many that they've come out with recently that I still haven't tried. It's hard for me to keep up because they keep putting out new beers. They have they have a barrel-aged series. I've had the Trapale, the Sour Saison, and a couple other ones. Those are really good. They have that barrel-aged lineup, the New Belgium beers, and they're really enjoyable. The Sierra Nevada Brut IPA, I would love to try that one. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it'll make its way to my area soon, Rajay. We get all the Sierra Nevada beers, so I'll definitely check that one out. What do I think of all the craft beer elitists on YouTube? I don't know. I don't watch too many of the craft beer elitists on YouTube. If I'm watching a YouTube channel or a beer reviewer and they're or next channel. So I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. To each his own. And, if you want to get on YouTube and slam beer all day because you don't like it, that's fine. But I'm not going to be watching your channel. So let's see. Ronald Terrio didn't like the Brut IPA. No, Ronald Terrio hated the New Belgium Brut IPA. He gave it a D, which for him is very rare and means it's very bad for him because he usually gives A's and B's to most of the beers that he drinks. Had a good Brut IPA when I visited Black Cloister in Toledo, but like many beers in a style, some may not be as good, but may not represent all. Yeah, that's true. You could have one Brut IPA, it could be just god awful. You could have another one, you think it's world class. And there's so many different takes on the style. These different companies are going to, put out their version of it. And a lot of times there's going to be a huge difference. It might not even taste like it's the same style. So it just depends on what you like and these different breweries, what they think would make a good beer within a certain style is not what another brewery is going to think makes a great beer. So there's a lot of variation between these different craft beer companies and their different takes on a certain style. And that's what makes it great because you get to try all these different beers that taste completely different. A lot of them are extremely unique and not necessarily following along the guidelines, because there's really not a lot of rigid guidelines for a specific style. There are certain guidelines that you're supposed to follow to fall within a certain category, within a certain style. But there's a lot of leeway, a lot of different techniques, a lot of different additives or variations of ingredients that you can use within a certain style to make it what you want. And that's a great thing. Let's see. Jacob Downing is tuning in. Thanks for watching, Jacob. Appreciate it. Let's see, 49. All right. We have been going on here for about 50 minutes. It's 10 after 4, so the college playoff game is coming on if it hasn't already. So we will go ahead and wrap this up. I didn't really know if anybody was going to tune in because I didn't really, post anything saying, hey, everybody tune in for this live Q&A session. Like I said, I had some viewers request it. So I just figured today would be a good day to do it. I really appreciate everybody watching and asking some great questions. There's so many great beers and beer reviewers out there on YouTube. Thanks. We got a lot of them here in this chat right now. So if you're watching this now, or if you tune in later, check out the chat. Look at all these great beer and alcohol related YouTube channels. Check them all out. They're excellent. No craft beer elitist in this chat, Eric. A bunch of down to earth beer drinkers here. So thanks everybody for tuning in to this live Q&A session. I really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the football games and have a great rest of your weekend as well. That'll do it for this live stream. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. And as always, cheers.